These questions are from Tommy C, George, and Hannah K with a smiley face. Cool. And question number 1: without profit, how do we develop? Well, a lot of advents that have come through at a fight in our system. Germ theory was brought forward by a guy called Semmelweis, Engelbert Semmelweis. He basically proposed that doctors who were going down from the morgue to deliver babies up in the delivery suite and weren't washing their hands could be carrying this invisible thing on their hands called germs that were causing all the problems they were getting up there. You know, all the cot deaths, baby deaths, and deaths of mothers and things like this from infection. And at that time they were like, right, so we're carrying invisible things on our hands. Okay. Where do you think they put him? In a mental asylum where he died. So, but then years later, you know, germs were proven to be the case, and now we all use soap when we wash our hands, and a good thing too, because we all get to live longer because of it. And it's something we're not reinforced to see as beneficial. So, was the initial stages of that, was that for profit? No. It was for something different, but it got turned into profit when there was some money to be made from it. So, in a sense, our development doesn't come from the profit motive, because the profit motive doesn't reward innovation very well. There's a good talk by a guy called Ben McLeish called The Innovation War. If you want to look at what really creates true innovation, that's a very interesting talk. How do we build these super trains, like the maglev trains? Where do we get them from? How do we build them? Right. Company you want to take a look at for that is ET3. Okay, they're the company that do evacuated tube transport systems in the Venus project as well. Talk about them if you're just interested in the designs. How do we build these super trains? They would the most efficient way to build them would be in prefab. So you build the parts prior to delivery, and then the delivery systems put them in place, but obviously you'd need to go and run surveys and experiments on where you would be implementing such designs. It's a design thing. The fact is the information's been extrapolated and it can be done. So people are not all the same.
Agreed.
We never said they were. we don't want them to all be the same. That's not what it is. But
you have to talk about humans in terms of their needs, in terms of basic human needs, and if their needs are met, they develop into empathic, kind, reciprocal human beings. But if those needs are not met, they are less capable of functioning as human beings, less capable of functioning in a reciprocal society. So no, people are not all the same.
We don't want people to be all the same. To be honest, if people were all the same, a resource-based economy wouldn't work. Because if everybody's interested, you all have to be interested in hydroponic food farming, then how's the maglev train systems going to work? Who's going to, where's the human beings are social creatures? Who's going to be creating the music and the art? So that who's going to be making sure the AI robotics work and the UV solar lighting in the hydroponic food farm facilities in the desert or Siberia? How are they? Who's going to really look into permaculture? We need the widest spectrum of human behaviour. Actually, human interests, I would say. We need a wide spectrum of that. But the only way we're going to get these sorts of advents coming through in the sort of emergent fashion we're talking about is through a collaborative system that reinforces the notions of collaboration intrinsically in its method of operation by removing the artificial mode of exchange between people, which is money, the separating factors, and starting to base things intrinsically on a ground-up empirical understanding, and the best methods of approach via that understanding being the scientific method, of course. If you build these new buildings plus super trains, what happens to the waste from the old buildings?
Well, in some cases, it would be more efficient to build buildings and cities from scratch.
Most cases.
But that doesn't preclude an idea of recycling the resources from the existing cities. So efficiency is absence of waste, so why would you not want to recycle as much as possible? Cities that are built that fulfill a purpose nowadays, such as London, which was never built for most cars, never built for the quantity of people that now live there. You could harvest a city for its resources and then recycle that into the new efficient city that's built from a ground-up scientific approach.
And if you look at things like the fact it was never made for car transport, but made for horse and car, what have they got now? A congestion tax. Oh, isn't that nice? That's the profiting off of inefficiency again.
And
it's exactly the same thing. They've not solved the problem. They haven't solved the problem because they haven't done anything technical. They haven't designed it. They've profited off of the problem because problems create profit. You cannot have profit without problems. It's a circle that goes back and then it goes back the other way. It's the only way the system actually functions at all. With regards to these, we'd obviously upcycle, but there would be a mandate to sort of keep some of our old cities, some of our old monuments to show where we've been. But you know, if you're talking about urban sprawl, listen, I live in a semi-detached house where we're sitting in at the moment, and to be perfectly honest, I don't give a rat's arse about this place. If you want to tear it down and use it to build a brand new sustainable world that is looking to meet human needs and solve human hunger, I'm not going to get too sentimental or choked up about this place, you know, and the memories it holds and all that kind of stuff. That's not what efficiency protocol calls for, and essentially that is what we've got to start to adhere to if we want to actually survive in a meaningful way on this planet together. And we need a decision-making method that arrives at decisions a hell of a lot better than our current ones, and that's the bottom line. So hopefully that answered some of your questions. That's the end of this sheet. If you want to find out more, please go to the zeitgeistmovement.com or thevenusproject.com. Thanks very much for your time, guys. Cheers.